Welcome, and accounts here for the Rabbit Hole Designs. Today we're going to create a curious card. Let's go over the products I used to create this card. From the new release, it's called Wonderland 1. There are two sets. This is number 1. This one has several images. It has Alice in her drink me bottle, a heart tree with roses, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We have the doorknob. We have a flower or a rose, a heart, and a Queen of Hearts heart card soldier. We have heard in Wonderland. These are phrases that you'll hear in Wonderland. For example, we're all mad here, curiouser and curiouser, which we'll be using today, and have a very merry unbirthday to you. We have the key and the hole and other sentiments. You have a total of 8 sentiments in this set of things you'll hear people say in Wonderland. We have the Garden Trellis hot foil cover plate. This is a beautiful foil plate. I think Marian outdid herself with this one. We will use some gold foil to foil that. You'll see that in a bit. I went ahead and colored Alice and her bottle and fussy cut her. I have 110-pound white cardstock for our cover plate, medium blue 65 weight cardstock, and I use that to ground everything, and 110-pound card base. I have a strip of the same blue and a strip of white cardstock for our sentiment. Here's our gold foil. We're going to be using Glimmer hot foil to foil, because we'll be using the Glimmer hot foil system to foil. Alright, so I'm going to bring everything in. There's my white card, and I know everybody's using hammer mill, but I can't get any hammer mill to use this, so I'm actually going to use Recollections brand 110-pound white cardstock to foil. While my machine is heating up, I'm going to try something crazy, and I regret it as soon as it's done. I'm going to try to stamp our sentiment by hand using an acrylic block. Normally I could do pretty good, but this time I used an older acrylic block that my kids used when they were little, and I don't know what they did to it, but it is now not so clear anymore. It is like foggy, and I couldn't see really well through it. I knew I shouldn't have used it, but it was the only one that I had that was big enough to hold our sentiment. And I stamp it, and I applied, I thought, even pressure, and I didn't get a nice impression. So I'm not worried about it. I will just stamp it again. I have some extra cardstock, and I'll just stamp it again in a little bit. Alright, so our machine is saying that it's ready, that it's hot enough. I'm going to put my cover plate, foil, pretty side down, or you'll see the like silver looking side that goes up towards you. Then our cardstock, and then the sandwich that holds everything together, which is the shim and the cutting plate, or the other clear plate. Set the timer. While that's going on, I'm going to grab my Misty, which is what I should have done from the beginning, and an extra piece of white cardstock. I have a cigar box on my desk where I throw any scrap of white or black cardstock, because this is the ones I use the most for sentiments. Those little scraps that you have left over, I just throw them in there for that purpose. And then I will stamp using our sentiment again, using the VersaFine Onyx black ink. So there you go. Got my stuff just in time. My machine is saying it's ready. I'm going to remove it out of the dock, and I'm going to bring it over to my large die cutting machine, which is behind me, and I'm going to remove this here. Now this cover plate is so heavy duty that little magnet that comes in that holder thingy, or magnet cover, I guess, die remover, I don't know the name of it, that tool couldn't pick it up, so I just slid it off onto the cooling mat. I'm going to remove my Glimmer system, the cover plate to cool off to the side, so we can get started. I'm going to show you our background. Look how gorgeous that is. I had just a smidgen of overfoiling. Other than that, it came out perfect. And I went ahead and earlier today, I ran this just through my die cutting machine just to kind of emboss it to see if it would work, and it did, and it came out beautiful. So I'm going to use that for another card, and I'm going to save this foil because I have the solid cover plate. I'm going to transfer that design onto for another card. Alright, so here's that little scrap of white card that I pulled out. I'm going to add my sentiment onto here, get it on there as straight as possible. I'll check to make sure it's straight. And I'm going to ink it up again, like I said, with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I have two sizes of this ink. I keep the small cube on my desk for quick sentiments like this. Then I have the bigger stamp pad off to the side, which I like to use for watercoloring and other little fun things. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my mini cutting machine and a die to trim down my sentiment. So I'm going to adhere this down using some washi tape. Let me share a little story about my son. My son likes to pop into my craft room every now and then just to chat with me. And he always looks at my die cutting machines and he goes, "Oh, your poor machines. I see they have chicken pox again." I look at him like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he points to all those little pieces of washi tape I have on the machine. You know, so you're cutting a bunch of things and you stick those over because you know you can use them again. And he says, "You see? Chicken pox." He's crazy and he cracks me up. All right, so I'm going to take our cover plate and I'm going to cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 because I'm of course going to mat this. I'm going to keep those little strips. And now I should have all the components for our card. So I'm going to bring everything over so we can start adhering and our card together. So I have my white foiled panel, and I'm going to adhere that using my Barely Art glue. Recently I was asked what's on the bottom of my glue. It's just a rubber band. I have the stopper. I don't use the needle. I have the stopper that you can purchase at Barely Art. And I use a rubber band on the bottom of the bottle to hold it in place, so it's not moving all around and getting into everything. All right, so I adhered my foil panel onto my layering cardstock. I use a sand eraser to remove any of that little extra overfoiling. And now I'm going to use, again, Barely Art glue to adhere this whole panel of card front panel onto my card base. Once I have that, we can add our wonderful little Alice. And I'm going to put her here to the bottom right, like not quite at the center. I'm going to off-center her more towards the right. I have some foam adhesive on the back of that. I'm going to raise the backing. And then I will place her, like I said, towards the bottom center, offset her to the right a bit, just like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my sentiment. Now see, if I add it white on white, it kind of gets lost. So that's why I cut the blue as well. Now these you can layer one on top of one another like so, but I thought this is Wonderland. Nothing is perfectly straight in Wonderland. So I'm going to just lower the blue one just a bit, just put it kind of wonky underneath. So I fuss with this so much. I don't know why I fuss so much adhering two pieces of paper together. It's just keep one straight, put one wonky. I don't know what was so difficult. But anyway, I finally get it. Nope, I don't get it. I adjust one more time. Once I have that, I'm going to adhere this using some foam adhesive strips. I'm going to grab one really quickly. I will basically cut this in half, but before I do, I will remove the backing on both ends. It's just easier and faster to work this way. I'm going to adhere this on here, and then I'll just use my non-stick scissors to cut it. And those non-stick scissors are from Fiskars. I was on the Fiskars team like a million years ago, so I have those just in case you're curious. But any non-stick scissors will work great. And yes, that's one of my little gray hairs sticking into the camera, so I'm sorry about that. All right, so I have my sentiment down. I have some overhang. I'm going to use some scissors to trim them off. Once I trim those off, our card is basically complete. You can leave it like this because you have all that beautiful foil in the background. But I have some confetti, and this calls for confetti, and this color is called Island Blue. And I picked it because it matches our Alice's dress. I used B00 and B01 for her dress, and a little C1 for her little apron. So that blue matches perfectly. Do you remember those strips? I'm going to use one of those little strips that we cut off from the foil covered panel, and I'm going to adhere it on the inside of our card. You can do this with any strip. Just make sure you stay within the inside of your crease so that your card closes. I'm going to trim off any overhang. And now our card is complete. So there's little Alice with on her little drink me bottle. I did use a gold pen on the tag of the drink me, like the little string that holds the tag. I didn't show you that here, but you can probably see it in the close-ups of the picture. Again, we used the Garden Trellis cover plate, hot foil cover plate, the Heard in Wonderland Stamp Set, and some VersaFine Onyx black ink for that. We used the Wonderland Set 1, and that's where we have our cute little Alice from, to create this card. Oh, but like always, I will have everything linked for you in the description box below. This will have links straight to the Rabbit Hole Designs shop, so you can pick up all the Wonderland beautiful sets. Thank you for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration today.